What's cracking, ladies and gentlemen? FortyeniN coming at you with another community shoutcast for the UGC Dota League Season 2. We're loading into game number 2 of a best of 2 series between FortyeniN and Blokes of Deceit. This is for the Eastern Invite for the UGC Dota League. And Blokes of Deceit had a bit of an interesting strategy for game number 1. I know a lot of people like to joke that Crystal Maiden is you only pick her for the aura, so Blokes of Deceit, they maybe went along that line of thought. They had a Crystal Maiden in the game, but for the first 20 minutes, she just sat in the fountain. And to make things worse, she didn't even skill the aura for a good 15 minutes. So Blokes of Deceit, not too sure that was miscommunication, trolling, maybe it was some form of protest being shown by Alucard saying, I don't want to play Crystal Maiden, why did you pick me Crystal Maiden? You know what, as a form of protest, I refuse to skill aura. And then maybe eventually they decide to get him to skill the aura and start participating in fights. But that being said, it did cost them a lot, the fact that they only had one support for the entire game, NRC as the Earthshaker, who couldn't actually rotate or really do much of anything aside from sit there in the bottom lane and try to bully out UGTFO as the Titan 2 who was stepping all over. The Necrophos is going to be played by Hugo Muga. So Blokes of Deceit, because they played 4v5 for the vast majority of that game, it meant they were never able to establish any form of map control. They couldn't do anything to contest runes. Mate, with Broder constantly rotating as the Omni Knight, able to just camp runes, ensure that Blokes of Deceit, their mid player, especially TMT on that Death Prophet, was never able to get any form of rune control going to ensure that she was able to have that, so she was not able to have that sustain against the Phantom Assassin. So this time, mate, mirroring the bans of the first game, the Viper as well as the Ogre Magi. The difference, of course, being that this time, mate, do have first pick. Blokes of Deceit, once again, first ban Pandarian Brewmaster, and then the Razor. So both teams playing it very safe, sticking to their guns with what they know. They're not really interested in experimenting or in trying to ban out a few other top tier heroes. Ogre Magi, while a very powerful support hero, definitely is a bit of a situational ban, especially in the first stage, just because you leave heroes like the Lycanthrope as well as the Terrorblade in the pool, and Lycanthrope has been seeing a huge resurgence with teams like EG being able to utilize him in that pseudo jungling role, where because of the fact that Shapeshift now propagates the 650 movement speed to your Necronomicon minions as opposed to 522, you actually do have a huge amount of team fighting impact. If you go for the Necronomicon build, having the Necronomicon warrior running at you at 650 movement speed is absolutely terrifying, can actually turn fights because you can quickly pop down the backline heroes. Skywrath Mage, first pick coming up from Blokes of Deceit is mate. They stick to their guns, and once again we're going to be seeing the UGTFO on that Titan was actually able to play it to great success, even though he didn't go for a very early Blink Dagger, picked it up around the 20-minute mark since he decided to go for a Perseverance and Arcane Boots before committing for the Blink Dagger. It's a bit of an unusual build order coming out from him, but that being said, the fact that he was able to stack and clear out Ancients without any form of contention from Blokes of Deceit, once again, owing to the fact that they didn't have another hero there, the Crystal Maiden, who could have warded, de-warded, or simply face-checked. So we've got a Skywrath Mage and the Doombringer as the first and second pick. Doom is a bit of an interesting hero as far as 8-2 is concerned. He received a very significant nerf where Doom no longer disables passive abilities, such as the Faceless Void's Backtrack or Titan's Kraken Shell. So Doom has lost a huge amount of its impact. And the fact that before you could use Doom to reliably control heroes with evasion, such as the Phantom Assassin. If you doomed her, she loses blur, so you could quickly burst her down without having to buy an MKB. The fact that it no longer disables these passive abilities unless you decide to go for the Agnum Scepter, which, while it is a very powerful item, is fairly costly. You're not going to be having it for at least 20 minutes. Has pushed Doom from the A tier, where he used to be picked and banned almost every single game. About, I think it was 70 to 80% pick ban rate for the Doom. Now he's about 20%. He's in the niche tier, this B to C tier, where you occasionally pick him up if you have a very good team to work around the Doom, or if they've got a very tasty Doom target that you really want to control. Otherwise, Doombringer as an offlane hero, he still does provide you a lot of benefit with the fact that he's able to constantly maintain some form of golden experience parity by being able to devour creeps. So even if he isn't able to find any creeps, as long as he's able to occasionally wander and devour one, from time to time he'll be able to at least maintain some kind of parity. Or if you're over in the Radiant offlane, you have access to the Dire hard camp, and so you're guaranteed to be able to at least have some kind of useful minion to help you. So for instance, if you ate the Centaur, you'd have that Hoof Stomp to dissuade them from diving you, or the Wild Ganora to buff your armor. But on the Dire side, Doombringer doesn't really have all too many advantages. You can always have the option of running Doom in the jungle, but Doom, of course, is very slow. He's incredibly greedy in the fact that he weakens your lanes, because he's not going to be contributing until you get to Doom. And unlike an Enigma, you're not going to be having a very early mech going to be built on Doom, because even if you do go for that mech route, especially with the fact that mech now costs 225 mana as opposed to 150, you just don't have enough mana to be able to use it. So jungle Doom is effectively useless for the first 20 minutes, and that could cost you the game, especially against an aggressive team like UGC, who really do rely on these early support rotations to be able to win their mid lane as well as their off lane decisively. So yeah, mate, banning up the Necrophos, so Blokes of Deceit. Necrophos pick up by Hugamuga did actually help them turn around a few engagements and almost turned the game around had they had a lot more team fight, had they won a few more fights earlier on, especially since mate threw a huge lead at the bottom tier 3 where they decided to stick around after the TMT came back to life with that exorcism. Blokes of Deceit going in for the respect ban for the Omni Knight. Broda being able to play that to perfection. It's a hero that he spends an amazing amount of time playing, both competitively as well as in his own time, just because he loves the amount of combos you can pull off with the Omni Knight, especially in conjunction with heroes like the Phantom Assassin. Yeah, mate, with the 4th ban, starting to dip into a bit of their reserve time. Because there's a Skywrath Mage and a Doom, they do have a fairly flexible draft so far. You know Doom ideally is going to be in the off lane. If he is in the jungle, you can consider that a free win, because you've got the aggressive Vengeful Spirit to play incredibly active early on. You can actually hunt the Doom in the jungle, especially if you pair her with another support. And you've got Tidehunter in the off lane, so if it happens to be a 1v1 Doom v Tidehunter, Tidehunter completely destroys Doom. Blokes of Deceit, once again banning out the Silencer. Really aren't a big fan of that global silence, just because it does completely mess up teamfight combos, and once the Aghanim Scepter comes online, actually does a fair amount of damage to your backline heroes. Rubik picked up as a counter to the Tidehunter, and the way Rubik works as a counter to Tide is on 2 levels. You've got the immediate fact that if Rubik's able to farm enough money for the Blink Dagger, he could blink in, steal the Ravage, and then return the Ravage. So you've got the immediate impact of the Rubik, but you also have the much more subtle, invisible pressure that you place, because it means that Tidehunter, he can never Ravage if he doesn't see the Rubik. He has to catch Rubik in every single Ravage, just because on the off chance that Rubik is able to steal it and return it. Because that completely turns the tide of the fight. It throws a huge amount of tempo in favor of the enemy team. But yeah, mate, opting to go for Zeus. And Zeus is a hero that works very well against the Skywrath and the Rubik, just because they're so squishy as support heroes. Zeus, he's one of the heroes that has an incredibly high win rate. That's due to the fact that statistically, if you're able to just get off 3 of his abilities, so his ultimate is Arc Lightning and the Lightning Bolt, with 3 or 4 heroes on the enemy team in the AoE static field, you do so much damage that their team's going to be walking at about 30 to 40% HP in the 15 to 20 minute mark. So that's often enough to be able to win you the game decisively, because you're just able to take these fights with ease, unless if they immediately blink Doom the Zeus at the start of a fight to prevent him from getting any abilities off. Just the sheer amount of damage he generates through the static field on top of the Thunder God's Wrath is enough to be able to win these engagements. If Zeus jumps on Skywrath Mage and Skywrath isn't able to Ancient Seal him, he eats the Thunderbolt as well as the Wrath of the Thunder God's Wrath. Zeus is instantly able to kill the Skywrath Mage, so you start a fight 4v5, and then you disperse a massive amount of AoE damage through static field to the Doom as well as to the Rubik. Blokes of Deceit, they picked up the Spectre. This is a hero that's absolutely fantastic against a hero like a Zeus, because you could instantly jump at the start of a fight. Spectre, the reason why she's such a powerful carry is the fact that A, you can play very aggressively with her. So every single time there's a gank opportunity for you to be able to use your Haunt to get a kill, you just press R. You can sit there continue to whack creeps, and so long as you've got a few points in the Desolate, your Haunt Illusion is usually able to pick up the kill for you, or at the very least will give you a large amount of assist gold. The Spectre's able to just sit there farming. If she gets a timely Radiance, she could single-handedly win you the game, because much like the Zeus, she's able to simultaneously engage on the frontline core heroes as well as the backline supports at the same time. And once the Radiance comes online, just by pressing R, you force the supports back every single fight. And when they start to run away, they're then eating that Desolate damage. It lets you pick them off very easily. The Spectre, if she's able to find a timely Radiance, is going to be a huge factor for Blokes of Deceit. So far, their lineup is fairly greedy. They've got the very greedy support of the Rubik. And Rubik, you have to run him as a 4. You can never run him as a 5, just because, especially in this case, because you need him specifically to counteract the Tidehunter. So you want him to ideally find Arcane Boots and the Blink Dagger as soon as possible. I mean, Skywrath Mage is going to be picking up a lot of the slack, and the biggest weakness of Rubik is because they don't necessarily have a strong combo. You've got the lift into the Spectral Dagger, a few right clicks, and then the Arcane Bolt. The only reason why this duo works is because Skywrath Mage outputs so much damage. But that being said, there definitely are more powerful support duos to work with the Skywrath Mage. We've now got a Wraith King ban coming up from Blokes of Deceit, so not a big fan of Shai Halud. Was able to make a few plays once he got that Blink Dagger, even though he didn't even have Treads for that. Treads which Shai Halud now going to be playing his favorite hero, the Lycanthrope. As like this is the weakness of banning out the same heroes in game number 2. You open up the draft to enable these A-class heroes such as Lycanthrope to slip on through. It will be interesting to see what lane the Lycanthrope chooses to go into. We have seen tri-lane Lycan, jungle Lycan, even mid-lane Lycan. He does have a fair amount of flexibility, just because of the fact that, much like the Faceless Void, he hits incredibly hard at level 1, and so that does give him a fair amount of mid potential, or 1v1 potential, just because you're able to outlast hit the enemy player, deprive him experience, and start to win the lane passively. And once you do get 2-3 points of the wolves, you can just stick him on them to constantly apply dot damage and harassment over time. Templar Assassin, the final ban, as Templar Assassin completely destroys Zeus in lane. So a bit ironic that mate going for the 5th ban TA in the same sense that Blokes of Deceit did, because they picked up a very greedy mid lane hero that gets hard countered by the TA. Blokes of Deceit will be interesting to see who they decide to pick up as their mid lane hero. So far, the lanes are set in stone. Spectre, you have to run her in a tri-lane. You can't really run her as a solo hero. Unless if you can, to an extent, if she's able to find some early farm. So if you're able to, for instance, if Spectre is against an offlane hero, such as a Timbersaw, and she's able to get first blood, so she picks up the EXP lead, then you could afford to leave Spectre alone, because with a few points in Desolate, she could actually quite handily zone the Timbersaw at the lane. But otherwise, from the start of the game, you can't afford to have Spectre go 1v1, just because so much weight is on her this game. She has to be able to carry them through the mid and the latter portions. Into Skywrath Mage and the Rubik, they're going to get torn apart by the Lycanthrope Zeus combination. Zeus is able to instantly burst down the Skywrath Mage to start a fight. Lycanthrope, he shapeshifts, he runs at the Rubik with the Necronomicon Illusions, forces Rubik out of the fight to enable UGTFO to Blink Ravage if he doesn't happen to catch Rubik. If he catches Rubik to start a fight, it's fine and great. Everything's absolutely fine. You could kill Rubik in the duration of the Ravage, and then at that point you've got such a huge advantage in your favor that Blokes of Deceit are forced to retreat. Looks like we're going to be seeing what looks like to be a mid lane Venomancer. This is a bit of an unconventional pickup. Venomancer, while a very powerful mid lane hero, in the TI4 meta we did see him play in that mid role, just because of the sheer amount of pushing power and sustain Venomancer has in the lane. In that case, you actually see Venomancer completely forego Gale and just prioritize the poison wards as well as the poison sting. So you just set up camp in the mid lane, spam wards everywhere to just zone out a hero like Zeus is entirely dependent on spells to be able to push up the wave. So the Venomancer actually could work incredibly well against the Zeus pickup, just because Zeus has no way to effectively deal with the wards. And if Venomancer goes for a casual point in the Poison Gale, if he ever catches Zeus out of position, could go for a kill attempt. But that being said, Zeus does have a massive amount of burst potential, so it really does boil down to how much work the Venomancer and the Zeus are able to do at level 1. But we've got a Huskar pickup, so it looks like we're going to be seeing a 4-position Zeus, as well as a 5-position Vengeful Spirit, with Huskar going to be rotating into the mid lane. Shai Halud going to be pick up the Lycanthrope. UGTFO going to be in the Tide Hunter. Mate, decided to throw a caution to the winds. They've won a very decisive game number 1. They're feeling a little bit cocky. But that being said, that last game was technically a 4v5, so that could turn to bite them in the ass, especially since Blokes of Deceit, they actually have a very powerful lineup. Venomancer and Spectre, fantastic synergy, because you've got, if one Spectre picks up the Radiance, you've got the constant burn damage from that when she haunts in. Then you've got the Poison Nova. If Venomancer is able to find a timely, either a Veil of Discord or an Aghanim Scepter, he could single-handedly win you fights. But of course, how do you deal with a Venomancer hero that only deals magic damage? You pick up Huskar, who just shrugs off any form of magic damage. So Blokes of Deceit, mixing it up, this time we've got Hugo Muga, going to be playing the Skywrath Mage. He was the 1 position in the last game, playing that Necrophos, and Alucard, who was the 5 position Crystal Maiden, this time going to be the, what looks like the 2 position Venomancer. We could actually be seeing another hero going to the mid lane, never mind, it is going to be NRC. Going to be the 4 position Rubik, with Skywrath Mage being the 5 position Skywrath, with Hugo Muga, being the 5 position Skywrath Mage. Alucard rotating into the mid lane. We've actually got a smoke rotation, TMT, the mid lane player from the last game. This time going to be what looks like the 1 position Spectre. Alex, no safety ward once again. That's another critical factor. The fact that Alex didn't have a safety ward did cost him his life. The offlaner, you never want them to start blind, especially against an aggressive team or a team that has supports that can lock the Doom in place. You can't just rely on the boost movement speed. Since Cox already starting with boost, most Vengeful Spirit players at level 1 do opt to go for boots first. Just because you are such a slow hero and it's so critical that you get that stun off. Looks like they are able to find first blood on UGTFO. Was a little bit too far forward, didn't have any vision of his own. And with that, Alucard Starts the mid lane with a bang. He did opt to go for that point in Gale, so he's going to be playing a very aggressive Elemental build. He could actually even choose to forego Plague Ward and go for a max Poison Sting / Poison Sting build. But that being said, against the Huskar, the only way Alucard has a chance of being able to stay alive in this lane once the Huskar picks up level 6 is if he has a lot of wards to back him up. Cox, he's going to be playing the 5 position, but that being said, playing a very greedy 5 as he got from boots first. Let's scout out Alex. Alex gets that bounty rune. Broder going to be the 4 position Zeus, but looks like he's going to be playing as the 5. Yes, he's picked up on the support items. You usually see Zeus in the 4 because he does scale a lot better than the Venge. But that being said, it does make a lot of sense for the Venge to start with boots first. Shai Halud going to be the safe lane Lycanthrope, going for a fairly conventional build order. Actually, interesting to note, he opted for summon Wolves at 1. A lot of Lycanthrope players actually choose to go for Howl at 1 to ensure that your mid lane player is able to win his lane very effectively with that bonus damage, or you actually opt for Feral Impulse at 1 to give yourself that last hitting damage. Since level 1 Wolves is effectively a waste of money, not really going to be able to do too much, but while I say that, King Killer caught him with the lift, being tossed back. This could be another death going to the hands of Blokes. He actually turns around, throws out cheeky right click. King Killer completely throws his life away, was actually home and hosed. He could have just walked away from that and would have been fine. Instead, throws his life away, getting a little bit too greedy. Doesn't even have a point in Berserker's Blood, so he couldn't have man-fought Alucard even if he wanted to. Could have actually been a misclick. And Alucard with 2 kills to his name, sitting pretty. He's got his bottle immediately flying out to him. And Blokes of Deceit, this time they're playing a much better game than they were. So it could have actually been some next level mind games, like completely throw game number 1, only to dominate game number 2. UGTFO caught out of position. TMT smack him down. He did get a 3-man anchor smash, but it's not going to be enough. The Arcane Bolt going to clean him up, and Hugo Muga finds a kill. Blokes of Deceit with a 3-kill lead. Completely different game to game number 1. As this time, mate, caught with their pants down. They went for a bit of a comical draft with the Zeus as well as the Huskar pickups. The reason why Huskar is not a competitively viable hero is the fact that he's the only hero in the game that hard counters himself. If you go for a Blade Mail, while I say that, King Killer should be able to find a kill on Alucard. Good use of the orb to ensure that he didn't proc tower aggro. So King Killer able to slowly recover. Gotta be careful though, since it looks like NRC is rotating to be the camp out the top room, which is going to be the bounty rune. Going on to my earlier point, the reason why Huskar isn't competitively viable is the fact that Blade Mail hard counters him because it does pure damage. King Killer, the Huskar will return pure damage and kill himself before he kills you. Alucard playing aggressively against him. Kin's going to find a kill before he dies. He's very happy to die because he's going to find that kill on Alucard. At least he should. Never mind, the bottle charge is going to keep himself alive. King Killer throwing his life away once again. Coxie comes on to double damage whilst the Wave of Terror not going to catch him. Just rotates back to the bottom lane. So King Killer, classic over-aggression from Kin. This time not really paying off as he underestimated the bottle charges, as he's only got the level 1 burning spares. If it was level... oh, never mind, it's level 2. If it was level 3, sorry, it should do enough damage to interrupt bottle charges. But because the damage isn't over 15, you can sip bottle and not have it break. King Killer. Now they'll be playing a little bit more cautiously against Alucard just because he does have the gold lead. UGTFO are going to be called out by NCR, who is rotating in. No concussive shot being used, as he didn't have enough mana. So even if they did lift him, they wouldn't have had enough damage to bring him down. TMT, massive mistake coming out from him. Opting for 2 points in dispersion in a lane where you have the Rubik as well as the Skywrath Mage. You never go for this. Is an incredibly old school Dota 1 level Spectre build. Back when Desolate used to be very unreliable and didn't do enough damage to warrant the skill points early on. Nowadays, Spectre, you have to max Desolate if you want to be relevant. Maxing out Dispersion, going for more than 1 point in Dispersion early on, gives you very little because you don't have enough HP for it to increase your survivability by much. Actually, going for important stats actually increases your EHP more until you get above 900 HP. King Killer actually does find a kill with the help of Cox. So with the power of friendship, he is able to slowly salvage that lane. So because he has 2 points of Dispersion, even if they do go on UGTFO, unless Skywrath Mage is full mana, then they're not going to be able to find the kill. Especially since he's got that 2 points in the Kraken Shell, TMT is just going to be tickling him. If he went for 2 points in Desolate, on the other hand, they could actually afford to leave him alone. He could play incredibly aggressively against UGTFO and start stabbing him. Because the Desolate damage stacks up a lot. It's the reason why you draft the Spectre, is so that you can make good use of how overpowered Desolate is at the early stages of the game, to be able to find you these pickoffs. That's the reason why Spectres nowadays, the traditional build for her is Treads, Earnest Shadows into the Radiance. Because the Treads gives you the attack speed so you can proc more Desolate hits. In some cases you even choose to forego Dispersion and go for 2 points in the Spectral Dagger and max out Desolate, because you have an amazing amount of chase potential with the second point in the Spectral Dagger. You deal ridiculous amounts of DPS with the Desolate as well as the Treads. And so you're able to isolate target to pick him off every time you haunt, so you're going to be haunting into kills that are essentially guaranteed by your team. But going in for this build, this means that he's going to be farming and not really going to be doing anything for his team. So it's a build that you used to be able to do in Dota 1, back when you could play super passive, back when Deucer used to be the most popular hard carry, and you had games go to the 70-80 minute mark when buyback didn't have a cooldown. Nowadays, because the game's a lot more active, because Spectre, you can't afford to draft a greedy carry that's not going to provide you much assistance in early fights, and just isn't going to provide you damage. All the EHP in the world isn't going to matter for a thing if they just ignore you, kill the rest of your team, then turn around. Concussive shot flies in the Ken, it's Cox, and Broda, this time they're waiting, it's a trap! Says, yeah, nah, man, he leaps over on Hugo Muga, should be able to bring him down. The Ancient Seal, never mind, he didn't actually use any building space because of that Ancient Seal. Great play coming in from Hugo Muga, preventing King Killer from going for that kill. And the Huskar pickup, really not working out. 1 for 3 on a snowball dependent hero that's dependent on winning the game in the first 15 minutes or getting very far ahead. Broda, going to be incredibly careful. Alucard actually should have chosen to commit for that kill. If he had Gale and thrown down a ward in front of him to inhibit his movement slightly, would have actually been a kill. Especially since he would have been able to use another bottle charge to follow up with the Poison Nova. Playing a little bit passively, and Alex actually getting a fair amount of farm. He's getting a lot more farm than he should have, especially compared to UGTFO this time. He's been shut down a lot harder. He did go try to clear out Ancients, not able to do so. King Killer gets a kill on Alucard, gets zapped down by NCR. So this lane, absolute pendulum, going back and forth. Cox could look to play very aggressively against NCR. But Hugo Muga is waiting in the wings. Looks like Alucard is going to be maxing out the Poison Wards. So the rationale behind that. Poison Wards is usually the ability you want to max out first on the Venomancer, but usually you do see 2 points in the Poison Sting because he's playing against the Huskar. You going for the third point in Plague Wall at level 5 is going to be a lot more cost effective, just because the Huskar doesn't give a damn about much damage. And UGTFO, now that he's left alone against a melee carry, he's going to make TMT's life an absolute hell. TMT going for a very unusual split build because he went for the inefficient second point dispersion. He really can't do anything in this lane. He's got that 1 point Desolate. It's not really going to be all too much. Broda caught on the Ancient Seal, zapped down by NCR, and Blokes of Deceit. This time they're playing a much different game. They're bringing in their A game. We've got Medallion of Courage and Vladimir's offering at the 8-minute mark. Going to be coming in for Shai Halud. Actually 7.5 minutes, since he should be able to find 1 CS in the next 10 seconds. Creep Wave pushing out. Exceptional amount of farm coming in from Shai Halud. So he's picking up the slack from the rest of his team. The reason why Medallion of Courage is such a powerful item on the Lycanthrope is not only does it help you Roshan faster, it gives you a ridiculous amount of DPS. Especially with the fact that Shapeshift has been reworked now, so it's 650 movement speed. He's shapeshifting now, he's going in for his kill, and he's hungry for this kill attempt on Alex. Broda, he does have a lightning bolt coming off cooldown 2 more seconds, but it looks like Shai Halud wasn't able to get there in time. The lack of CC coming in from Zeus, this is the reason why you usually don't see Zeus picked up. And that's, you can afford to do this if you've got a carry with a form of CC. So for instance, the Wraith King or the Chaos Knight, because they could set up their own ganks. In this case, because he doesn't have anything apart from the Wolves to try to body block. Not able to accomplish too much. Alex does have the Doom available. Scouts out the Courier, but Cox once again picks up the double damage. Vengeful Spirit, hitting like an absolute monster truck. Broda, no points in the Arc Lightning, going for the very conventional support Zeus build where you just go for the Thunderbolt and rely on that. Body blocks attempted by Shai Halud, not actually going to be effective. StarCraft 2, micro level, not really there. UGTFO gets scouted by NCR, who lifts them out. Hugo Muga doesn't have enough mana for the concussive shot, but he gets that secondary arcane bolt, but this time, support's rotating in. TMT goes and they are able to finally secure that kill. Cox actually should be able to find a retaliatory kill on NCR. Animation Council to move himself forward to get that last right click in. So they trade support for one of their cores. Gonna be a very good fight as far as Blokes of Deceit are concerned, just because they're slowing down the Blink Dagger coming online for UGTFO. That Blink Dagger is going to be the critical item that transitions Yandar Mate's lineup from okay to absolutely amazing, because if they're able to get a good Blink Ravage initiation on the Skywrath Mage and on the Rubik, they die instantly, especially with Broda there to back them up. Broda actually opting for a point in Arc Lightning as opposed to going for a second point in Static Field. Bit of a questionable build, although the rationale behind not going for points in Arc Lightning when you're playing the Zeus in the support position role, you actually don't have mana to waste. You need just enough. You have just enough mana to be able to ult and throw out one bolt, and maybe have a little bit more to be able to throw a secondary bolt if you've got something like a magic stick. Going in for the point in Arc Lightning means that that's one less bolt that you're gonna be getting off in the fight. So it really does impact your overall DPS. Blink Dagger actually available for Alex, so he's been having an absolute ball of a time. You've got the blinking Doom to be able to really shut down UGTFO. So the offlaner countering the other offlaner, and if they're able to get a Doom off over in UGTFO, completely renders him useless. He's just a glorified melee creep. Doesn't have anything that can really contribute to a fight, since he's not even going to be going for a mech or anything supportive for his team. UGTFO might actually even consider choosing to go for a mech first instead of going for a blink, just because he's not going to be getting it anytime soon unless things start to turn around. But while I say that, Cox, Smoke Gank reveal, TNT actually goes forward with that Spectral Dagger, eats a lightning bolt to his face, and the point in Desolate and the Dispersion keeping him alive. Second point would have made too much of a difference there. He would have gone out nonetheless, but Shai-Hulud comes in from the side, just casually chops him down. NCR running back into the tree line. Shai-Hulud should be able to cut him down. While that's happening, Cox got inside the Ancient Seal. Hugo Muga should be able to poop him down with the Arc Ball, but never mind. 3-man Ravage coming in from UGTFO. Buyback, and then the Haunt coming in. King Killer duking up against Alucard. Finds a kill over on the 2. Broder should be taking a death to TMT. This is the reason why you want Max Desolate. You want to maximize your damage during the Haunt. And Shai-Hulud, ultra kill flying out on him. There's a reason why you usually ban the Lycanthrope in the first banning stage, is so that players like Shai-Hulud or Artesian Mind aren't able to pick them up, because this is the power of the Lycanthrope, and because he's able to get that fight and kill Spectre and shut him down completely, that's a tower and a half that they should be able to take. This is the reason why Lycanthrope used to be first pick, first banned for the past year and a bit. Every time you lose a fight against a Lycanthrope, you lose a tower. If the game goes late enough to the 30-minute mark, where respawn cooldowns are nearing the 50-60 second mark, and you don't have buyback, you lose a fight against a Lycan, you're going to be losing a set of racks. He's no other carry hero, aside from maybe a Terrorblade now, punishes you for losing fights as much as the Lycanthrope does. So he's able to take an inch and turn it into a mile. Broder picked up his Arcane Boots from that fight, so he's going to be incredibly happy. Usually, Zeus, if you're going to be very poor in that support position role, you might opt to go for something like the Soul Ring. Ideally, you want the Arcane Boots, but if you're not going to be getting gold anytime soon, Soul Ring is going to be a very effective pickup. Cox, support wars as he gets the ward before he dies like a true support. Cox, fortunately, going to be taking a death as the Arcane Bolt going to be coming through. Tries to even deny himself to the neutrals. Could have actually tried to TP home to at least bait out the Ravage. Not the Ravage, the Doom. Or the Hoofstomp, never mind. There was the Hoofstomp available from Alex. But Cox, at least D-wards before he dies. UGTFO now walking in, trying to avenge his fallen comrade. As Broder, he bolts down NCR. NCR actually stole the Arc Lightning, so maybe that could have been a rationale behind going for it. He throws up the Thunder God's Wrath, and with that, actually picks up 2. King Killer duking it out with Alucard. Once again takes a fall. The two of them going at it. Every single time they're alive, just throwing themselves at each other. EXP change actually going in favor of Name, because they were a little bit behind. They are now actually are starting to claw themselves ahead. 3,000 EXP lead going in their hands due to the macro advantage, as well as the fact that they are picking up these towers. And now a 3,000 gold lead, gonna very quickly become a 4,000 gold lead. Blokes of Deceit without the Poison Nova, they actually can't defend us. And Shai-Hulud actually caught inside Doom, so Alex could be looking for a kill, but Doom's not going to be enough to be able to bring him down. He's committing for this, but Shai-Hulud just stands his ground. He could actually choose to go for a kill attempt on Alex before he does. Broder does finally get cut down. The Wolves are there. One more tower right click should be enough. UGTFO throws out the Ravage, catches out NCR, throws out the Anchor Smash, so he says, "Where's your spell steal now? Checkmate, Atheist." Hugo Muga out of mana, Poison Gale there, UGTFO out of position, but King Killer coming in with the Michael Jordan leap halfway across the map. Gets revenge on Alucard for all the deaths he's taken this game. Turns around, throws a few right clicks at Hugo Muga. Hugo Muga actually should burn down to the 2 stacks of the Burning Spears. And Cox shows up a little bit late, steals the EXP though. So he's got that going for him. What a game happening so far. Both teams just constantly throwing themselves against each other. These very messy fights. UGTFO getting a little bit closer towards his Blink Dagger. Would have hoped the tower gold would have been enough. Shai-Hulud actually could have turned around earlier, right as he crossed over the ramp, and would have actually been able to bring down Alex before, because he knew he was dead the instant support rotated him, but maybe he thought he could have gone under there, since Broder had TP'd in. But with that Mystic Flare incoming from Hugo Muga, actually could have chosen to stand his ground here, and would have done enough damage to bring down Alex before he died, to at least trade. But that being said, didn't anticipate Hugo Muga being able to react so quickly. NCR throws down the ward. Cox probably is going to be aware that the ward is going to be dropped over in the top lane room as opposed to the bottom, just because they had de-warded that. Shai Halud going in for Roshan, actually going to be scouted. Pops a shapeshift. Alex does have Doom available, but he's not going to commit it, especially with the shapeshift lycanthrope. Roche did take a huge amount of damage. Almost 2/3 of his life was taken out by that. Arcane Bolt still flying around. Shai Halud finally takes pity, lets the owl hit him. And this is the power of the Venomancer, especially in that core position role. You can constantly spam out the ward to be used to scout out. Looks like Alucard is going to be going for the mech, and the biggest change with 8-2 compared to 8-1, and the reason why you don't see Venomancer picked up in that mid role, is because mech costs 225 mana. If you go for mech on a mid position Venomancer, you're going to have enough mana to be able to use your mech and to be able to use your ult. You're not going to have mana to be able to Gale. Especially since he opted to go for treads opposed to the arcane boots. Usually when you go mech on a Venomancer, you go for arcane boots. Otherwise you're not going to have enough mana to be able to use all your abilities. Cox caught out of position, but he eats the majority of the damage. Alex, very low. They're still going in for his Roshan attempt. They actually do UGTFO. Mystic Flare being used. He just sits there, lamenting his fate, as he gets brought down by Alucard before he can throw out the Ravage. Shai Halud, no shapeshift available. NCR getting smacked down by the wolves. They actually bring him down. Cheeky Medallion being used on him. Broder goes in on Alucard. Throws out the lightning bolt, telling him, "Get back! You don't know me like that." Unfortunately, he's completely out of mana, so now stuck behind enemy lines. Gonna be praying they don't go this way anytime soon. Alucard still thinking about maybe going for Roche by spamming out wards. But yeah, nah, mate. Actually, Broder's a bit too far out of position. Alucard's gonna be an easy kill. Concussive shot as well as the Ancient Seal and Arcane Bolt. King Killer shows up, says, "Hello, Alucard. We meet again." Alucard drops wards, he's scared, he doesn't want to go in for this. King Killer not going to get in close enough for that life break. Cox comes in for the side with the magic missile, locks in place for a little while. Poison Nova dropped. King Killer says, "Sorry mate, I'm leaving you to your fate." Never mind, maybe he does want to go in for a King Killer. They now throw away their lives. And with that misplay, they gave away a free Roshan. Yeah, nah mate, really getting a little bit cocky, starting to throw the game. This is a typical trend. I believe they've won exactly one series is a 2-0, every other series it's always a 1-1, because game number 2 they always decide to throw. Was hoping this could have been the first time I've casted a game where they actually do win a 2-0 streak. Wolves almost bring down Alucard, meanwhile. And the Thunder God's Wrath is there! Broder claps his hands, says, "Get back! Get away from my Roche." That's gone to my lycanthrope. NCR gets bolted down, and Broder making work with the fact that you can now blind fire that Thunderbolt. Shai Halud, after the longest Roshan engagement, I have witnessed 2 minutes of back and forth action. Finally is able to seize the Aegis the Immortal as well as the level 2 Necronomicon, so he's well on track for his item progression. Usually on the lycanthrope you want to aim to get Necronomicon 3 by 20 minutes. Usually going to be around, on average, 22 minutes, but 20 minutes if you can pick up a Necronomicon 3, you've effectively won the next fight, just because no one can deal with the 650 Necro 3 warrior. They don't have enough HP to be able to kill it without also risking their life. King Killer, no treads once again, but instead opposite has the armor mid again. He eats a Doom, but Doom no longer disables the Berserker's Blow. So it's not going to do, it's just barely tickling him. Literally no damage. UGTFO catches out 3 with the Ravage, instantly throws out the Anchor Smash. No spell steal once again. Alucard out of position, gets caught down. Mystic Flare, UGTFO just eats it. And Shai Halud smacks down Hugo Mugu. No snares, no mercy, says the big bad wolf. And that's level 3 Necro, 18 minutes into the game. That's a tier 2 you're going to be losing. And while all this is happening, TNT almost does have the Radiance, so he's got that going for him. He's going to be having a 20-minute Radiance. But otherwise, at this point, he just sits there and cries. He cannot afford to dive. And that being said, even if he does get the Radiance and he haunts it, Shai Halud, the biggest power of the Lycanthrope is he hits his power spike at the 20-minute mark. When you have Necronomicon 3, you outfight every other carry in the game, even if they have more items than you. Just because you've got Feral Impulse, which is one of the best steroids in the game, as well as the Shapeshift to ensure that you're getting more shots than them. Especially with the Medallion of Courage, he's got the Freedoms of Deso. Cox looks like he's gonna be one Duke, and actually they do bring down TMT. Broder says, "What are you thinking, son?" Burns him down. King Killer lift into the air, crowd control to all hell. He's gonna be the one drawing every single spell in the game, while Shai Halud running unchecked, and unfortunately doesn't have to shapeshift. He's got the edges to the Immortal, so he stands his ground against Alucard. This time it's London's mistake. King Killer says, "What's up, brother?" Dunks him. UGTFO goes over and Alex blinks out. Looks like he opts to go for a cheeky Planeswalker's Club, and Broder comes in from the side, bolts him down, buys enough time for the UGTFO to be able to go in for the final Anchor Smash, and they didn't even burn off the edges. Shai Hulud, he's just gonna sit there, get owned up by his buddy Kin, and start smacking down at tier 3. Blokes of Deceit, despite the amount of misplays Name have made, because you're playing against a lycanthrope and you can't afford to throw a single fight, you're now going to be losing tier 3 tower. This is the power of the lycanthrope. Once again, the big bad wolf. Every time you lose a fight, you lose a tower, without fail. They can actually even choose to commit for racks. They do have the Aegis. Shai Hulud, he's not afraid of no ghost. He's got the Aegis to the Immortal. He's got Shapeshift available, so if he dies, he can Shapeshift and get out. And they're going for it. Yeah, no, mate. 20 minutes into the game, they're taking their first set of racks. Alucard going in, he doesn't have the Poison Nova or the mech. Shai Hulud, he's going to be taking a death, but he doesn't really give a damn. King Killer stands his ground. Berserker's Blood says, what's up? Shai Hulud as well, running at NCR, who's actually going to be dying to the wolves. But Broder's there to clean him up. One lightning bolt. Thunder God's Wrath almost drops Huga Muga. He doesn't care if he dies, he's done so much damage that he's effectively carried out this fight. One-man Ravage from UGTFO. Frustration Ravage coming up from him. Sick of all the CC. Wants to simply knock somebody down. Cranium Basher as well as the Necronomicon 3 now available for Shai Hulud. If he gets any more swell, he could run for Governor of California. Farm through the roof, and he's going to be taking another tier 2 tower, because the only one that can contest him is the Spectre, and Spectre doesn't have a Radiance, because he went in, TMT went in for a gank attempt on Broder, and Broder just styled all over him with the Thunder God's Wrath as well as the Bolt. Spectre was never able to get a good start going, so this is the power of the Zeus against very fragile Agi carriers like the Terrorblade or the Spectre. You're just able to apply so much damage to them so early that you prevent them from ever being a fine farm, because if they ever jump into support to their teammates in a gank, you just prioritize them and burst them down. The 5-position Zeus doing a huge amount of work. Looks like he is going for a very pub build, going for Refresher first, as opposed to going for the Veil of Discord, which gives you overall a lot more damage for your money. Or going for utility like a Blink Dagger, a Yule Cyclone, or a Force Staff, which would give you more survivability and therefore more damage, because it guarantees you getting another Thunderbolt off in the fight. But that being said, yeah, nah, mate, are starting to close out the game. If you have a look at the experience, 15,000 experience lead in their hands and only continuing to get bigger. Have a look at the net worth, 14,000. All 3 cores, apart from UGTFO, has actually had a bit of an off day. He finally has got his picked up his Blink Dagger. Shai Hulud actually has 2.5 times the net worth of TMT. King Killer dunks Huga Muga, who's actually caught inside the Medallion of Courage. One more right click will be enough. Alucard goes on Shai Hulud, but he's got, but doesn't have the Aegis to the Immortal. He's got the Cranium Basher though. King Killer, he's eating every single ability in the book, while Shai Hulud just runs unchecked. So this is the power of the Huskar. He just acts as a retard magnet. He eats all your CC while the big bad wolf runs unchecked because they're not dooming the wolf. If you doom the wolf, then King Killer jumps you. If you doom King Killer, then Shai Hulud jumps you. So either way, it's a lose-lose. And then you've got the fact that Broder, he's effectively functioning as another core hero. The amount of damage he's outputting. 2 sets of racks now going down in favor of Mate and Spectre. TMT just with Treads and a Radiance. Broder actually going into the enemy base to pick up his Refresher Orb. Baked on the buyback from NCR. Unfortunately, only stole the Arc Lightning. UGTFO. Refresher Orb. The Ravage is now available. Looks like he's going for the Pipe of Insight. He's sick of eating the Mystic Flare every single time. Blink Hoofstaff from Alex, but he's got to be very careful. There's a swap available from Cox, as well as the Magic Missile. Magic Missile flies out. UGTFO caught inside the Ancient Seal. He's got that Ravage available. He does catch out NCL once again. No Spell Seal for you, good sir. Mystic Flare not going to be enough for UGTFO. Gale flies through. Cox bodyguarding like a boss, but UGTFO eats it like it was candy. One more right click from Alucard does bring him down. And Broder, he's there to make sure they jump on Cox so he's able to get some return damage, but looks like he's now going to be throwing his life away. He just finished his Refresher Orb, didn't even get a chance to use it. Weeps salty, salty tears. And King Killer going for a BKB, still no completed boots. Both Ken and Shai Hulud having some weird aversion to going for treads. Maybe they did bad things to them when they were a kid. You want to go for treads as soon as possible on a hero like a Huskar once you've picked up your own. Just because it drastically increases your DPS. Especially with the fact that Huskar, Berserker's Blood no longer gives you damage. You need to stack even more attack speed now to be able to reach comparable levels of damage that you used to. Slight mismicro coming out from Shai Hulud, leaving his Necronomicon Warrior on the side. It'll be interesting to see if he does use that Mana Bone.
currently content just to smack creeps. And then the tower, that's going to get cleaned up. That's 200 gold going in favor of, looks like the tower's able to take it. It's another reason why Necronomicon 3 and Lycanthrope haven't been seen as much as they used to, is the fact that Necronomicon now does give an obscene amount of gold, 200 for a level 3 Necronomicon warrior, as well as the archer. And so you can't afford to throw your Necronomicon minions away. Every bit of gold counts, and it does stack up quite quickly, especially if you're not able to translate the Necronomicon into a tower. TMT, the only member of his team that's got reasonable amounts of farm, is Alucard. Finally finished his mech. Probably going to be looking to go for the Aghanim Scepter, just so that he has enough mana to be able to use all his abilities more than once in a fight. The biggest strength of the mid-position Venomancers, usually you're able to delay pushes, just because you just spam a wall of wards, and they're able to clear out the creep wave before they could deal much damage to your tower. But in this case, because he's getting caught outside, because they're fighting outside their base, or when they fight inside their base, he hasn't had time to set up wards. He hasn't had that counter push capability. Yeah, no, mate. Grouping up for the final push. They're going into the Hail Mary. Thunder God's Wrath used casually. Alucard loses almost half his life to that. So he's now at 500 HP. Secondary Thunder God's Wrath almost drops. UGTFO spits him in the face. Swap being used over on Alex. Doesn't even get a Doom off. Shai Hulud just cuts him down. King Killer, he wants this kill. He's just going in 1v4. Just buying space for the rest of his team, saying, guys, I'm kind of over here. Mega Creep's now going in favor of mate. Cox stuns Hugamuga. UGTFO. He's got Ravage, but he actually could afford to use it now, so he doesn't have to worry about NCR. Smacks down NCR. No Ravage is stolen in this game. TMT goes on Cox. He will be able to find that kill. Now he's duking up with Broda as well as Shai Hulud. Shai Hulud goes over on Alucard. Could be some throws coming out for mate, but the Abyssal Blade doing work. Shai Hulud snapped down. He finally brings him down. Throws about 4,000 gold to TMT's hands. The IMF is now online, giving money to the Impoverished. But that being said, Mega Creeps, even a Spectre can't push out against Mega Creeps. Boots of Travel's being bought by Broder. So this is the Hail Mary play coming in from mate. Everyone that can afford to buy back has, apart from Kin. Not going to be too happy with that. TMT getting smacked up by Shai Hulud. The Abyssal Blade bash is there. Mech not going to be enough. Actually, it looks like it is. Broder is doomed. But Alex, putting himself in harm's way, he's got 5 armor. Shai Hulud says no. Shapeshift stolen by NCR, so that's one terrifying Rubik. As he runs around, throws out a cheeky Fate Ball, waving his paw to throw out the right click. Shai Hulud, now back to a regular human form. Thunder God's Wrath, there we go, the double Thunder God's Wrath is there. TMT, going for Sergeant Yasha. The Pinoy is strong. He should be able to find a kill over on Cox with the Sham and the chase potential. Shai Hulud, though, goes in and King Killer, dunking from across the map. Once again. He's out for revenge. UGTFO caught inside the Ancient Seal. Pipe being used to mitigate the damage coming in from Alucard. King Killer just pops his ult, dunks Alucard, but he just throws his life away. So Kin, a little bit embarrassing for him. GG being called as the throne explodes. 27 minutes into the game. Mate, take their second 2-0 victory on the UGC League Season 2. This time planning around a bit with some unconventional pickups with the 5-position Zeus as well as the Huskar in the mid lane, but that being said, was a fair amount of thought behind that. The Huskar does work very well against the Venomancer, just because of the fact that Venomancer's most of his damage is going to be from magic, and so Huskar, once he gets a few points in Berserker's Blood, just completely shrugs it off. That being said, Kin was caught in a position a fair few times by the gank squad coming in from Blokes of Deceit, who played a much better game this time around. They decided to play as 5 instead of having Alucard sit down the Crystal Maiden in the fountain. But mate, able to seal the deal. The fact that they weren't able to do anything to inhibit Shai Hulud's farm on that Lycanthrope. Alex, this is the weakness of Doombringer. Unlike a Tidehunter who can contest CS against the enemy carry if left alone, Doombringer left alone against a Lycanthrope, he hides and runs because he's got 1 armor, Lycanthrope hits like a truck, and you've got the Wolves nibbling away at you as well. If they picked up something like a Centaur Warrunner instead, or a Timbersaw, then once the supports rotate away, you could play very aggressively. You could even look to go for a kill on Shai Hulud. Because they weren't able to do so, he was able to find an exceptional amount of farm, 7.5 minute Medallion of Courage, and of Vladimir's Offering. It's an absolutely insane amount of farm. It means that he must have gotten almost every single last hit, as well as some kind of assist goal to be able to find that level, maybe even a tower kill. Since he wasn't actually involved in any kills early on, since no towers went down,
He must have gotten every single last hit to be able to pick up that level of farm. So all in all, well played coming in from Name. Blokes of Deceit. Their mistake this time was the fact that they went for the greedy offlaner, as well as the fact that TMT, massive misplay with a skill build order, choosing to go for the 2 points of dispersion. It did absolutely nothing. It saved him once, but 1 point of dispersion would have saved him. That nonetheless, he would have survived with 30 HP as opposed to 80. But he still would have escaped. And because he didn't have the early points to desolate, his haunt rotations, they had no impact. You could jump in, you could rally to them, but with 1 point desolate, they're not afraid of you. They can stand their ground, they can bring you down, especially since the 5 position Zeus, being played by Broda, was eventually able to recover and find a fair amount of farm. And he was really showcasing the power of Zeus in that support position role, much like a Witch Doctor. Once they get enough farm, with Witch Doctor picking up an Aghanim Scepter, or Zeus picking up level 11, they effectively function as another core hero, just with the amount of damage they provide. So that looks like it for tonight. I'm FortyeniN, Community Shoutcaster for the UGC League, for the Eastern Invite, as well as the Australia, New Zealand, Iron and Steel divisions. If you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast, do subscribe and follow the channel at twitch.tv/UGC League. Feel free to check us out at ugcleague.com. If you or your friends would be interested in competing in amateur tournaments, as Season 3 will be starting, I believe, in January next year, so not too far from now. Otherwise, that'll be it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.